So before I begin, I would like to start with a question. How many of us sitting here are native Bangaloreans? Can I have a quick raise of hands? Alright. And the rest of us that are sitting here, we have come here to Bangalore in search of opportunities, in pursuit of your dreams, or maybe a job in tech, right? Yes, I am one of those people, and Bangalore has not just helped me accomplish my education, but it has meant much more to me than that. It has given me an opportunity to grow. It has given me the freedom to become independent, and it isn't just me. It is a lot of things for a lot of people sitting here. So this city that interests me so much, I really wanted to study the origins of this city, how it was before and how it is currently. So to carry out my research, I looked up about this city over the internet, and it threw a lot of names at me, like the city of lakes, meaning there are a lot of lakes in this city, then the garden city. It also gave me names like Gandubhumi, meaning the land of heroes, and Bendakaluru, meaning the land of boiled beans. So to further understand my research, I started looking up at each of these names individually. When I typed City of Lakes, to my astonishment, it was Udaipur, city in Rajasthan, that popped up. I looked back at my search bar and I hadn't typed it wrong. And it mentioned that Udaipur had 7 lakes, keyword 7. So I updated my search bar to say City of Lakes, Bengaluru. And in fact, Bengaluru had 285 lakes at one point. So I questioned myself. 7 versus 285, that's a crazy comparison. Why is it that Udaipur is showing up when Bengaluru at one point had 285 lakes? There started my in-depth research. So Namma Bengaluru is 500 years old, and it didn't start out as this massive tech-powered place. Initially, it was just a tiny settlement that spread across 2 kilometers, and it was found by Sir Kempegowda. And it didn't have all of these commercial bustling areas. It had a few markets, to be precise 4 markets that consisted of Dodpet and Chickpet. Later, when the British entered in 1700s, they expanded the city. It went to across 5 kilometers. They established neat roads, commercial lanes, military areas, etc. Then through 1700s to 1800s, the city saw a lot of growth. There was unprecedented growth at the outskirts. And in 1800s, that is when the city started seeing a shift in tech and science. It was during this time of 1700s to 1800s that the city had approximately 250 lakes. In fact, at a point in the early 1900s, the city had almost 1,000 lakes. These shimmering lakes were the pride of Karnataka. They made that City of Lakes label feel literal. The map was dotted in blue. Also, the city was called the Garden City. And even today, if I had to ask any native Bangalorean what was his or her favorite spot or green spot to spend their time, then they would answer either the Lal Park or the Kabul Park. So there was a point of time when we had just 2 major market sites or commercial areas, the KR market side and the Blackpully side, and we had the Kabul Park acting like a green cushion that made the city more livable and breathable. Also, the city was called the pensioners' paradise because all the folks from all over the country retired to this place not because it was chaotic or it was crowded, but rather because it was comfortable, it was calm, it was breathable. And this comfort, calm came from that same green spaces, from those same lakes that I had mentioned earlier. Then, later in the 1800s, that is when the city started seeing a shift. It was when the electronic city developed. It was when areas like Martali, Whitefield, Silkport, all of these started developing. That is when tech major companies, initially it was Texas Instruments, then we have Indian major companies like Infosys, Wipro, then other tech giants like IBM, Intel. Excluding these, we also had industries like Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, then we have ISRO, BEL, BEML, etc. All of these public sector industries coming over here. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Razorpay, etc. All of these started establishing their research and development centers here. And not just these tech giants, we even had startups like Ola, Flipkart, Razorpay, etc. All of these portrayed Bangalore in such a way that the city wasn't just hosting innovation, it was creating it, right? The young people saw this as an opportunity because that meant more opportunities, more industries, more sectors, a modern lifestyle. But to the residents already living here since generation, it felt like a sudden change that they were never prepared for. Of course, what is positive for some might be negative for some. This didn't really mean negative because it was a lot of opportunities for the tech or the youth present here. But it was also a lifestyle that the older generations were getting used to that they were not prepared for. And as we went forward through the centuries, over 2 decades, the city saw massive migration, right? A massive increase in population, all of the development of all of these industries, these tech centers, these public sectors, etc. And the city started feeling the pressure of its own development, of its own improvement. This is not necessarily negative, but these are the natural side effects of a city trying to keep up with global demand. And that led to a few side effects. I think even today, if I had to ask any native Bangalorean what are his or her problems with Bangalore, then they would say their commute time, the heavy traffic, the rising cost of living here, the water problem, etc. These started emerging, and when I started digging deeper into each of these effects, I found out a few things that alarmed me too. For example, a study done by IISc in 2024 said that 23% of Bangalore is now a concrete jungle. There are just like 1.7 million trees left. That's almost a single tree for approximately 7 people present here. Not just that, considering that there were 250 lakes at one point, if we look back at it today, there are just 80 lakes left. And the water in most of these lakes is not appropriate for any use, including agriculture. If we look at Bellanur, which is the largest lake here in Bangalore, the city receives approximately 40% of Bangalore's untreated sewage. It consists of toxic foam that even fires up at a point. The grass present on the banks of this lake, that is fed to cows, and that pollutants come into our home in the form of milk. And not just this, then came the era of AI, artificial intelligence. Bangalore being the most dynamic innovation hub of India, which is also now becoming one of the world's biggest AI capital, it invited artificial intelligence. But what we don't realize is that behind every model that is trained, behind every data center that is cooled, behind every cloud service that we call, there are lakes, trees and environment that are being crushed. So I asked myself, through it all, did the citizens, did the government, did the city stay quiet? Did they not make any change? No. The city showed up, the citizens showed up, not always perfect, not always correct, but definitely with intention. So the government has been actively working on reviving lakes such as Jakkur and Puthenhalli. They have been laying metro lines across the city, improving the suburban lines so that the traffic congestion reduces. And the real magic lies in its citizens. Bengaluru has this unique point where the citizens don't wait when there is something wrong. They show up. Bengaluru citizens have been showing up for simple things like weekend lake cleanup drives, green plantation, supporting sustainability startups, calling out lake encroachments if they are illegal, and not just that, teaching the community about waste segregation, providing further intelligence about sustainability, about how they should be saving their ecosystems. Then I asked myself a question. In all of this, where do we as students can place ourselves? Whatever we learn here in the university about algorithms, about circuits, about microbes, molecules, systems, processes, etc., where can we apply that knowledge, right? If I am a data science student, then I learn how algorithms and models work. Then maybe I can apply that knowledge to understand and track the water usage and the waste segregation in the city. A biotechnology student would study life at a microscopic level. So maybe they can track how to build better sustainable solutions and how this ecosystem can get better. And an engineering student can propose cost-effective, energy-efficient solutions that can help the community. So this is where theme of today, Udbhav, Igniting Origins, becomes so important. Udbhav, the word that is so synonymous with generation or new growth, it doesn't necessarily have to be growth. It can just be a little spark, right? That Udbhav, that spark can be us. If Bengaluru's past was green and its current is tech, then its future can be intelligent. And when I say intelligent, I mean emotionally intelligent. And that emotionally intelligent decisions are made by us, the students of Bengaluru. We are not just students of this city, we are also the future of Bengaluru, the ones that have the power to shape the city. So we can make take small initiatives from our side, maybe showing up for those weekend late cleanups, right? Taking part in those green plantations, trying to use public transport or carpooling instead of using our own vehicles, learning how the lakes and trees work to serve the ecosystem here, right? Those are the initiatives that we can take. If the past was green and if the current is tech, and in the future, the green and tech can rise together. Because that Udbhav, that origin can begin with us. Because origins don't move. That little Udbhav rises. Thank you.